Test, test, test. All right. This is going to be a part two of a review for AMD. So, last part, we explained how on spot I was able to get a 2.5 to 3x on my spot position here on AMD. This was back in like 2024 ish. Now, obviously, it's 2026 now. So, and there's actually have been a lot of price action since then that we could have definitely made some bread off of. So we're gonna talk about it today. And this time we have a face cam. So let's get into it. All right. So I'm not gonna talk about this too much because it was in the last video. Came up. We accumulated here at the hundreds. Came back up. We put our stop loss at into profits because of this demand zone right here, and then also we reaccumulated here at the 160s, and then came back up, and then we took profits here. Perfect at the 200 and whatever's. Now, in the last video towards the end, I explained that what I thought was going to happen was kind of what I drew right here. We're going to just delete these. All right. Basically, I only saw price action up to like right here. I was assuming, boom, range 1, 2, came over here, extend it. This was going to be the second deviation. Now looking at it now, it doesn't even look that clean for it to be a second deviation. But anyways, basically I took partial TPs here, and then I also took partial TPs here. Which is not a bad play because it turned out to be wicks. However, what I should have did was I should have partial TP'd here, which is fine. Partial TP here, which is fine instead of full TPing though. I should have waited for this extreme supply to get mitigated again. Because if it did get mitigated, then it would have confirmed that it was going to be a distribution model for all the way back down. Obviously, that didn't freaking happen. If you look, it turned out to be a fake distribution going into accumulation. So boom, we pulled it, remember, from top to bottom. This is going to be our first deviation. Coming down here, deviated, came back up, went back down. So this is going to be our second deviation right here. Third deviation right here. Beautiful third deviation. Now, if you even check right here, this was even an internal accumulation in here as well. So this just even added more fuel to the fire for the accumulation back up. We'll even draw the range. Fuck it. Boom. So that was your first deviation. Pulls down to the second deviation. This is your third deviation. While even in another internal accumulation on the lower time frame. Came back up. Boom. Now we see your range would have been at 263 from like 197. Now, looking into the balance sheet and the income statements from back then, it was 100% valid. Like when I was doing the numbers and everything, it was projected that this company AMD was going to be doing like, what was it, like 25 to 30% gross revenue quarterly, which is like, oh my gosh, duh. But you know, it's fine. We're traders, so we just go off of what's it called, probabilities, and then also take profits. But if I wanted to hold the trade for even longer than expected, could have made even more money. Comes up, accumulates, now absolutely blasted off, made this market structure demand here. So we'll draw that. Now here, let me delete this and do it again. Okay, so if we look at it right here, we'll go to a 30-minute. Boom, boom, boom. This was some type of accumulation right here, but something I wouldn't have traded. It's not as clean to me. We come up. Now we're even at like, bro, this is literally 500 levels. $500 level. Mind you, we accumulate all the way at the like 100s, but it's whatever. Boom. Higher low, higher high. Comes down. Boom. All right. This is our range high. This is our range low. We see right here that there's some wick deviations. So we're going to pull this right here. So this is some type of distribution that's looking in. But if we even look into the, into the Wyckoff even closer, into the schematic, boom, you go in, higher, low, higher, high. We pull this range from top to bottom. All right. Now, look at this wick. Beautifully wicked on the DL tool. Now, I always say this. If it wicks like this perfectly in the DL tool, in the range, and it respects the range, that like your probability of your schematic happening is like times 2. So boom, goes like this. Now you see right here, these little wicks right here, that's going to be your second deviation. So now you're going to pull your range down here. Boom. So now the whole time, boom, bounces up. Now if you look right here, we have extreme supply. That market makers honestly didn't even like mitigate. That's pretty crazy. That's not even like damn, that's pretty tricky. Yeah, see how it like barely wicked that. That's pretty interesting. But yeah, came up for this extreme supply right here, wicked back down to grab this demand. So boom, finishes off this Wyckoff. So now this is going to be a short that turned into a long to go back up to create the third tap higher time frame short. Hopefully that made sense. It's like super advanced stuff. Boom. So came up. So basically, first tap came down, second tap, but in the second tap to go up for the third tap, they had to short the price at the 500s to accumulate back up to make the third tap, to make people think that it's going to go back up again. Boom, just to short it. Even, and by the way, this right here on the lowest time frame ever is technically still short. Like there is a little schematic in there as well. Comes down, look at that gap. Crazy gap. Market makers just instantly dump the price. Boom. Comes back. Drops down here, drops down here. This was some type of accumulation that you could have traded right here. That's in the same levels as the previous accumulation. So it makes it even more high probability. Comes back up. Now, pull range from high to low. Pulls up on range. This is the second tap for the short. This is respected DL, so you know that this is high probability, like we said before. Now look at this. This is like super important. In a Fibonacci, or not a Fibonacci, in a range, they have this line right here. The fact that market makers are following this, super high probability. That means that it's so obvious that market makers are playing this range. And of course, it's to accumulate the price back up. Boom, comes back up, fills the gap. Now to go back down. Another short. So technically we're shorting market makers. The whole point of this whole schematic in general is to short. Now, if we add other factors in, like for instance, right here, this is a range inefficiency, P shape. Basically, if you get a P shape like this, basically what this means is that market maker, this is market maker volume right here. That's why there's big spikes. The market maker is in, there's market maker involvement in this price action. Now that we know, okay, market makers are trying to short this, if it's market makers that's planning to short this and it's in the same side of where we're seeing this distribution model, all these wicks right here, it's all on the same side. See, all these are wicks are at the same time where all this volume is. You know it's market makers. You know that, you know, your trade's going good. Now, market makers love filling imbalances and inefficiencies. This right here is technically an inefficiency. This is why there's lower volume here. Very interesting, right? And it just so happens that the technical target is right here all the way in the bottom, which also follows that there's this market structure demand here that market makers are going to want to come back for, either to long it or to short it. In my opinion, it would be to short, but you would either see something like this if it's going to go back up, or it comes down just to, this is such a bad drawing, but to short. And then that'll be the short on this demand. So you'll see something like this. You'll see some type of reaction on that. Okay. So that's another confirmation. Another one would be just the amount of liquidity that market makers are building up towards the 500 mark. It's crazy, bro. Look at this. Like, just this alone, this is all liquidity. Market makers, when this happens, it's usually just going to be a crazy down, because there's not there's no supply, there's no demand that's stopping market makers from having to either accumulate or distribute from there. And if you even look at even further price action from the previous accumulation, it's just all liquidity as well. Besides this demand right here, this is like some besides this demand right here. But other than that, all liquidity as well. Now, lastly, or actually, there's two more things. One being that just in general, this schematic is in the $500 range. Now, psychologically, for retail in general, when they see that a stock and like when it pops in the news, oh, AMD hit $500, bro, that means that you should get out of the trade, or that means you shouldn't even look at the price action, because that is a perfect signal for market makers to do exactly what's happening right now, to manipulate the price and dump it, right? That's what we're seeing right now. Just because, like, the fact that $500 is just such like a known number, and it's such like it brings emotion that, oh my gosh, this AI stock just hit $500. That's like a +2 confluence, you know what I'm saying? And it just makes sense that, market makers are going to try to manipulate it on the $500 range. Wicking even trying to go to 600. See, everybody was even thinking, oh, everybody that accumulated here at the 400s, oh my gosh, it's going to hit 600. Look, market makers are wicking here at the 600. They didn't even hit it once. They wicked it every single time that it was even looking to approach the $600 range. Pretty crazy. And now another thing, if we look at the time scale, this is like June, July, basically Q2 to Q4 of this schematic. If we look at previous price action, this accumulation right here, Q3 to Q4. Q2 to Q3. This accumulation right here from a couple years ago, Q2 to Q3. Usually what I notice in these super high schematics on the highest time frame, if market makers say accumulate at a certain quarter, like quarterly, say if it's Q1 to Q2, for example, in the next year or two, when market makers finish accumulating, they're going to distribute at the same quarters, Q1, Q2 of that following year, the opposite way. Usually, if you want to even get more advanced with it, it would preferably be before or way after tax season, which is like, already know that. But yeah. So my projection comes down. It's basically already confirmed. It comes down here and basically just dumps. Am I looking for shorts here? Probably not. By then, all of the puts would be way overbought. So no entry for me, but definitely if you have the capital to, I would definitely look into getting in this trade.